Hi everyone, it's Helen from the Squiggly Careers podcast, and I want to let you know about this week's episode, which is all about how to make your job application stand out. Definitely inspired by the process that Sarah and I have been going through recently. We've been recruiting some new roles for our team, and we've had over 200, well over 200 applications. So it's given us the opportunity to really reflect on what makes them memorable, what makes a sum of those 200 really, really stand out. And we wanted to share that because we thought it might be helpful. Also, there are some pretty scary stats about why we need to make sure that our applications stand out, whether you're applying for a new role or an award, or maybe you're putting yourself forward for a trustee role or a non-exec director, whatever it is. Applications happen in lots of different places. The stats are pretty scary. The first is the average amount of time that people give to look over a CV is, any guesses? It's not great. 6 to 8 seconds. So there is a very quick reaction to whatever you have written, whatever you have shared in your CV. The second is that only 20% of CVs for roles are shortlisted for a second round review. And from all of the people that have applied, only 2% are actually put forward for interview. So we really have to work hard to make sure that our CV, our application stands out through all of those filters, those first 6 to 8 seconds, that shortlisted process, and then the ones that are ultimately chosen for interview. So we hope in the episode that we cover some of the things that we need to do that can help that to happen. We divide it into 2 areas. So sort of like the brilliant basics, the stuff that you've just got to get right, and then the standout stuff. But to be honest, without the brilliant basics, the standout stuff doesn't go very far. So start with the basics first. A quick summary of the things that we talk about. First of all, the importance of personalize it and how and where to personalize your application. So things like covering letters, CVs. And then we talk about proofing it. It's a really obvious thing, but making sure that you or someone independent from the process can proofread what you've written, make sure it makes sense, get rid of any typos. And then the third one, we talk a bit about PDFing it. Really weird tip this, but if you PDF your application, it protects all of that formatting that you've put in. Otherwise, it can go a little bit of awry and you've lost a bit of control over what someone might be seeing, particularly if you put all that hard work into it. So there are more brilliant basics that we share, but that's just a super quick summary of some of the stuff that we talk about. And then sort of beyond the basics, getting into the stuff that really stands out. We talk about how you can maybe get creative with your CV and your application. Sometimes that is in the use of keywords. Sometimes that is in like literally visually how it looks. Sarah talks about, but don't go too jazzy. So there are tools like Canva you can use to get creative with formatting, but you might not want to take it too far. Depends a little bit on what type of role, profession you're applying for. But we talk about creativity in your CVs and make it really compelling. So the why me, why this role, why now, how you're weaving that into what you've written. And then we also talk about consistency. So we talk a little bit about often there are a few different points of communication in an application process. So maybe a covering letter, a CV, LinkedIn, how to make sure that that is consistent across all those different areas. So if you are applying for a role right now, probably a useful listen before you press send. Or maybe if you're thinking about this for the future, store this one away for when you need it. As ever, everything we talk about will be summarized in the pod sheet. You can download that on our website, which is just amazingif.com, and then go to the podcast page. You'll find it all there. And if you like the podcast and you want to make sure that you don't miss out on all the links and the resources that we create, then sign up for Podmail. The link to that is also on the podcast page, and we'll put it in the comments wherever you're watching this. You'll find the link to sign up for Podmail. But I hope that has been helpful. Hope you find it useful. And we'll be back next week with another Squiggly Careers podcast episode.